Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Yari presentation. My name is Michellet and this is my partner, Angel Police. And we're now going to talk about our Yari research findings and conclusion. So I'm now going to pass it over to Angel so that they can introduce themselves.
Like she mentioned, my name is Angel Feliz. I'm located in Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm a sophomore at the Met. I'm very interested in climate change and healthy living. I'm a part of the Big Picture initiative called Big Picture Living. We're trying to get the word out on 6 measures to remain healthy. I also enjoy spending time with families and friends. I joined Yari because I was once in the ESL program. While I was in the program, I felt out of place and not supported. Joining this research project has given me a voice to speak out on some improvements school districts can accomplish.
And again, my name is Michelle Brand, but y'all can call me Mitchie. I use any pronouns, and I'm located in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, but I do go to school in Providence. I'm a senior at the Met High School. And here's just a little bit about me. I work at Providence Student Union, a nonprofit organization aimed at improving education and the well being of students. And my position there is youth programming coordinator. I enjoy going outside when it's not freezing. I love eating, and I love doing art. The reason why I joined Yari was because back in elementary school, I was an ESL student, and I remember being frustrated because I wasn't supposed to be in the program in the first place. I had tested out, but I felt like people didn't believe in me. I'm now going to pass it over back to Angel to talk about our question.
So, our research question is: how can the Providence Public School District improve their education for high school ELL/ESL Latinx students? This question is important to us because back in 2019 when the youth researchers first came to us, Mickey and I noticed our similar backgrounds. Latinx students who have faced personal struggles within the ESL/ELL education. We decided to take advantage of our similar backgrounds and make our questions centered around our experiences and struggles. Rhode Island has been known for under-supporting their students, and the Hopkins report that also got released in 2019 only confirmed that statement. As a student who has been in the ESL program, we found this question to be very personal. Putting a spotlight will bring consciousness to the problem and hopefully gather adult allies willing to fight for us along with us.
Yes, and just to let y'all know, ESL ELL means English Second Language, English Language Learner. It's basically when someone is has English as their second language. They have another native language to them. So, how did we collect our research? Well, first we started with statistics, like we mentioned before, the John Hopkins report. And there, within the John Hopkins report, it stated that there are not enough teachers certified to teach students that are ELL. Black and Hispanic students account for more than 80% of students in Providence, while more than two-thirds of the city's teachers are white. And 87% of ELL students are economically disadvantaged. So basically, it's breaking down how, again, there's not enough teachers that are certified to teach our youth who are ELL. There's a really big, like, dis- dis- um, disappropriate rate between the BIPOC youth in our city and then the staff within PPSD. And then we can see how economic disadvantages affect our ELL students. We then followed up by doing our own personal research with surveys. Together, we created a survey that had detailed questions about how students felt about their ELL, ESL education. And we collected about 19 surveys. And then we went even further and we did interviews. We were able to interview two students about their experience with ELL, ESL education. So, what did we find within our research? Well, here's what we collected from our surveys. One big thing that was pointed out was helpfulness. A majority of students reported back saying that teachers who were helpful were one of the best teachers. We have support. Students appreciated teachers who showed educational and emotional support. So not only were teachers giving them the educational support that they needed, but also the emotional support as someone who is a part of PPSD and someone who's always in communication with them. For care, we have students noted that teachers who were caring towards them. This connection seemed to create an important bond between the student and teacher. And trust. One student reported back their frustration about repeating the same program every year. By doing so, they're not developing or learning new skills. They are eager for more opportunities for ESL students.
So some of the findings of one of our research, I mean one of our interviews, some positive that the student gave us was that ESL teachers was like any other teacher. They were supportive and gave them the attention they thought they deserved. They were somewhat engaged. Teachers did what they could to make their class and lessons engaged, and they felt supported. Uh, they said that the school was supportive, but in a way, they were also over helping, which with good intentions. And just to make it clear, all the quotes that I'm reading are strictly from the person we interviewed. Now, some of the negatives that they said was that in their class, it was a mix of students from all grades. They said that putting every ESL student in one group made it disorganized and counterproductive. They also said that since we were all put in the same class, they all learned the same thing, because they were ahead of the others. The work that they kept receiving was felt underwhelming, and they also asked themselves if if they if they thought that they were stupid. And then they also said that the problem comes from district. They said that they believe that the problem starts with the people that give the curriculum and organize the groups. A tip that the student gave us for improvement that the district should follow is that find a better way to separate and divide students by learning levels and not compare students.
Yeah, so that was student A for us. And just to let y'all know, we decided to keep their person like anonymous. So that's why we have that listed like that. We're now going to move on into the second interview that we had. Some positives that they mentioned was engagement. So the teacher would be engaging by reading Spanish novels and switching between reading them in Spanish and English. However, there was some negatives that outweighed the positives. They did not feel supported. My teacher didn't have faith in our class. No important words were taught, and if they were, we didn't under and if they were and we didn't understand right away, she'd just speak in Spanish for the rest of the class. Basically, they also followed up by saying that the teacher easily gave up on the class and that there was no challenging curriculum. We relearned the same lesson, and teachers were not qualified to teach ESL. Teachers were not trained well. So, for tips for improvement, it was basically to find balance. And I related to both interviews in a way because I noticed when I took my ESL program, they also didn't have students separated by understanding or level. So it was very difficult all being taught the same lesson when we were all on different levels.
Why is her research important? Well, it highlights from students themselves how educators can improve themselves educationally and mentally. It's also important because it showcases how teachers aren't creating personal connections with students. It also highlights how the ESL and ELO students are not being given the same opportunities. Who is this important to? Well, it's important to all ESL and ELO students. Youth who have not been given the space to speak, youth who are afraid to speak out, and youth who have been demoralized and or underrepresented. It's also important to adult supporters, educators, especially in the ESL and ELO education, and government officials with connections to education. It's really important that the adult allies step up and help us because it gives us extra support and extra strength to fight our battles.
So, what do we want people to take out of this? Well, first, we'd like them to take feedback. Our research gave several examples from students themselves on how teachers can improve their ethics and teaching methods. The second thing is consistent support for ESL students. Whether you're a student, teacher, staff member, government official, or even a parent, we want to stress the importance of having ESL, ELL constantly supported because clearly they're not. And number three, to be an ally. Consider that youth voices Considering that youth voices are constantly being suppressed, especially as ESL ELO students, is important for adults to step up, especially those within education and government positions. So what are some next steps that might grow from this work? Well, first, youth call out. As youth, it's hard for us to speak out when our words and our work are constantly undermined by adults. Hopefully, our research project inspires youth to speak out. It can be hard, but it's not impossible. More adult support. So, educators, government officials with strong connections and direct influence to public education, like the commissioner, superintendent, etc., parents, and adult allies within education work and research. We want basically adult supporters to step up, especially because unfortunately they do have somewhat more power than youth. So maybe they can get through with important government officials that have these connections with education to improve the ESL and ELL programs for our youth, so that they can be better supported and better supported and also being given a better education.
I totally agree with that. And we also need more momentum for direct change. If you're not already a part of this work, hopefully after this presentation, you feel more inspired to do so. Did you know it was an issue? Well, now you know.